Excuse me, sir. Is the Earth round or flat?
Flat.
Why do you say that?
Because of the firmament.
What's the firmament?
Do you even read the Bible, bro?
What up, what up? You are now listening to Once Upon 785, the dopest podcast in the Midwest. I'm your host, Georgie350. Let's get into it, bitch. What up, and welcome to another episode of Once Upon 785. Today's date is October 31st, 2024. As always, I'm your host, Georgie350, and today is Halloween, and it's episode number 19, United States of Poison. But, as always, before we start, let's do some quick announcements. If you ever wonder why I look so good, I have a secret for you. I have 3 places you can go. First is habits365.com and use promo code Georgie350. Bam. I guess if you're not watching this, then you can't see it. Whoops. And I'm just messing up all over. There we go. To get 15% off your next order, and that was at Habits365. Or you can go to reaperapparel.com. Check the hat. It's legit. Hella legit. And again, you can use promo code Georgie350 and get 10% off your order. And last but not least, you can go to cocoburry.com for your premium sweatsuits, all different colors. And again, use promo code Georgie350 to get 30% off your order. And if you would like to watch this episode instead of just listening, you can go to patreon.com/onceupon785. And for $5 a month, you'll get to listen to it, do requests, I'll do shout outs, and you'll get the episodes before anyone else. Plus, you'll get to see my beautiful face. Questions, comments, or if you want to come on the show, you can email me at onceupon785@proton.me. That's M as in Mary, E as in everybody. One more thing before we wrap up announcements. I'm trying to figure all this shit out with this microphone I got, and it'll sound good, and then once I get done editing, it just sounds like shit, and I don't understand it, so bear with me while I figure this shit out. But other than that, appreciate you for listening to the episode. Let's get into it. Alright, so I called this episode United States of Poison because I just wanted to talk about some of the shit that I wasn't really aware of until the last couple of years, and it made me change a lot of things. There's a lot more things that I want to change, but you can't just quit everything that's bad for you in one night or even 1 year. That's insane. But the first thing I would like to talk about is the truth about petrochemicals. And I got this from WYLDskincare.com. And, side note, it's fucked up that when I do all my research, I look up everything on Yandex. And then, after I look at everything on Yandex, I gotta copy the link so I can open it up in my Google browser, because for some reason Yandex is hella slow on my computer. But I mean, if you want to do a fun game, search something on Google and then search the same thing on Yandex and just look at the difference. It's insane how fucked Google is. Their algorithm is literally just like lies, 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 lies. Second page, lies, 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 lies. Some more lies, lies. Third page, lies. And then maybe you'll find some shit. The index, they're like, bam, page 1. We got you. They even have the little, like how Google will give you a summary before it gives you all the other fucking, like all the sites. The index does the same thing, but it's so much better. It's insane. Okay, side tangent done. The truth about petrochemicals. Choose to love your body and lose petroleum. This is by Jennifer Deeney. Do you trust in your personal care products? With so many confusing labels, it's often difficult to understand which products are friend or foe. Unfamiliar names of ingredients on product labels make it easy to miss toxic ingredients that can be destructive to your body. It's important to show your body the love it deserves. Educating yourself on the major players in skincare, both the good and the ugly, is essential on our journey to self-love. The sneakiest player in the game is without a doubt petroleum. Known for its negative effects on the environment, petroleum has snuck its way into the majority of self-care items in the drugstore. There's a big chance you may be putting the very thing that is clogging up the atmosphere on your body. What are petrochemicals? Also, we can thank Rockefeller for all the petrochemicals. Simply put, petrochemicals are derived from natural gas and oil. Don't be fooled, being natural does not always equate to being good for your body. Not only are petrochemicals unstable and non-renewable, I don't know about that, oil's totally renewable, they are incredibly toxic for the human body. It is common for companies to trick customers into buying products labeled as natural, when in reality, being natural has no real value. Whatever this WYLD respects our customers and ensures transparency about the sustainability and ingredient makeup of our products that leaves you with no questions. So I guess this is also like a promoting their products. Despite their known destructive properties, companies continue to saturate beauty and personal care products with petrochemical-derived ingredients. From mascaras to perfumes to body lotions and shampoos, petrochemicals find their way into virtually every mainstream personal care essential. To put it into perspective, around 95% of the fragrances used in toiletries and cosmetics are petrochemical-based. The truth about petroleum and petroleum byproducts. It shouldn't come as a surprise that ingredients derived from the same substance that powers cars and factories is harmful when applied to the human body. One main health concern linked to petroleum products is their ability to generate 1,4-dioxin. Additionally, 1,4-dioxin is potentially cancerous. On top of this, I'm just going to call it 1,4-dioxin, is a kidney toxin, neurotoxin, and respiratory toxin. Petroleum's main positive effect is its use as a moisturizing agent, but petroleum's ability to create a barrier to hydrate skin has its downfalls. That same barrier that hydrates your skin simultaneously locks in dirt, oil, and any other comedogenic or pore clogging ingredients that may be hiding in your everyday beauty products. Studies have also found that petroleum can work against your skin's natural perspiration, cause irritation, sensitization, and dry out. Don't miss petroleum byproducts on labels. Do you know and understand the ingredients that make up your go-to favorite product? If you don't, you're not alone. Although label reading has become more common in recent years, the average consumer still struggles to comprehend the labels of skincare and beauty items. A study found that 79% of women admit to being at least sometimes confused about ingredients listed on a package. Of those, 45% are often, very often, or almost always confused. The trickiest part about petrochemicals is that they easily hide in labels because they have many different families and go by many sneaky names. They pulled a list of common petrochemical products for you to familiarize yourself with. They got, I'm going to do my best, phenoxyethanol, PEG, all types of PEGs, paraffin wax, mineral oil, perfume or fragrance, methylparaben, benzene, toluene, EDTA, ethanol, propyl alcohol, methyl alcohol, methanol, anything with DEA. Okay. They said how to avoid petroleum and finding the best alternatives. Start building your petrochemical-free self-care routine now. You got to familiarize yourself with common petrochemical ingredients. You got to look at the labels on stuff that you want to buy and pick out products that are without petrochemical derived ingredients. Now that you know the no-goes, find the products that you trust to care for your skin without hurting the environment and mostly your body. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much the end of that, because this is them just trying to push their products. But yeah, definitely, side note, we're going to talk about the Rockefellers, because they had hella to do with petroleum, oil, the schools, the hospitals. Man. Alright. Now, we're going to talk about some Nazi stuff and their connection to fluoride in your water. I got this on the Wayback Machine. Truth11.com. Nazi connections to fluoride in America's drinking water. They start off with a quote. Quote, tell a lie loud enough and long enough and people will believe it. End quote. Adolf Hitler. And then another quote. Fluoridation is the greatest case of scientific fraud of this century. End quote. Robert Carleton, PhD, former EPA scientist, 1992. Okay, now this is a long fucking article. I don't know if we're going to read all this. Okay, here we go. The history of forcing fluoride on humans through fluoridation of drinking water is wrought with lies, greed, and deception. Governments that add fluoride to drinking water supplies insist that it is safe, beneficial, and necessary. However, scientific evidence shows that fluoride is not safe to ingest, and areas that fluoridate their drinking water supplies have higher rates of cavities, cancer, dental fluorosis, osteoporosis, and other health problems. Because of the push from the aluminum industry, pharmaceutical companies, and weapon manufacturers, fluoride continues to be added to water supplies all over North America. Due to recent legal actions against water companies that fluoridate drinking water supplies, precedent has been set that will make it impossible for suits to be filed against water suppliers that fluorinate. There is a growing resistance against adding toxic fluoride to our water supplies, but unfortunately, because fluoride has become the lifeblood of the modern industrial economy, there is too much money at stake for those who endorse water fluoridation. The lies of the benefits of water fluoridation will continue to be fed to the public, not to encourage health benefits to a large number of people, but to profit the military-industrial complex. Everything's about the military, and man, yeah. We're fucked. The story begins in 1924 when Interessen Germanschaft Farben, IG Farben, a German chemical manufacturer company, began receiving loans from American bankers, gradually leading to the creation of the huge IG Farben cartel. In 1928, Henry Ford, an American Standard Oil company, the Rockefellers, boom! There they are, merged their assets with IG Farben, and by the early 30s, there were more than 100 American corporations which had subsidiaries and cooperative understandings in Germany. The IG Farben assets in America were controlled by a holding company, American IG Farben, which listed on its board of directors Edsel Ford, president of the Ford Motor Company, Chas E. Mitchell, president of the Rockefellers National City Bank of New York, Walter Teagle, president of the Standard Oil New York, Paul Warburg, chairman of the Federal Reserve and brother of Max Warburg, financier of Germany's war effort, Hermann Metz, a director of the Bank of Manhattan, controlled by the Warburgs, and a number of other members, 3 of which were tried and convicted as German war criminals for their crimes against humanity. In 1939, under the Alted Agreement of the American Aluminum Company, Alcoa, then the world's largest producer of sodium fluoride, and the Dow Chemical Company transferred its technology to Germany. Colgate, Kellogg, DuPont, and many other companies eventually signed cartel agreements with IG Farben, creating a powerful lobby group accurately dubbed the Fluoride Mafia. At the end of World War II, the U.S. government sent Charles Eliot Perkins, a research worker in chemistry, biochemistry, physiology, and pathology, to take charge of the vast Farben chemical plants in Germany. The German chemists told Perkins of a scheme which they had devised during the war and had been adapted by the German General Staff. The German chemist explained of their attempts to control the population in any given area through the mass medication of drinking water with sodium fluoride, a tactic used in German and Russian prisoner of war camps to make the prisoners stupid and docile. I'm going to say that again. Stupid and docile. From putting fluoride in their drinking water. Farben had developed plans during the war to fluoridate the occupied countries because it was found that fluoridation caused slight damage to a specific part of the brain, making it more difficult for the person affected to defend his freedom, causing the individual to become more docile towards authority. Fluoride remains one of the strongest antipsychotic substances known and is contained in 25% of the major tranquilizers. It may not seem surprising that Hitler's regime practiced the concept of mind control through chemical means, but the American military continued Nazi research, exploring techniques to incapacitate an enemy or medicate an entire nation. As stated in the Rockefeller Report, a presidential briefing on CIA activities, the drug program was part of a much larger CIA program to study possible means of controlling human behavior. Oops. My bad. Okay. The dental caries prevention myth associated with fluoride originated in the United States in 1939 when a scientist named Gerald J. Cox, employed by Alco, the largest producer of toxic fluoride waste and at the time being threatened by fluoride damage claims, fluoridated some lab rats, concluded that fluoride received cavities and claimed that it should be added to the nation's water supplies. In 1947, Oscar R. Ewing, a longtime Alco lawyer, was appointed head of the Federal Security Agency, a position that placed him in charge of the public health services. Over the next 3 years, 87 new American cities began fluoridating their water, including the Control City in a water fluoridation study in Michigan, thus eliminating the most scientifically objective test of safety and benefit before it was ever completed. American education and research was funded by the aluminum manufacturing, fertilizer, and weapons industry, looking for an outlet for the increasingly mountaining fluoride industrial waste while attaining positive profit increase. The discovery that fluoride benefited teeth was paid for by industry that needed to be able to defend lawsuits from workers and communities poisoned by industrial fluoride emissions, and turn a liability into an asset. Fluoride, a waste constituent in the manufacturing process of explosives, fertilizers, and other necessities, was expensive to dispose of properly, and until a use was found for it in America's water supplies, the substance was only considered a toxic, hazardous waste. Through sly public re-education, fluoride, once a waste product, became the active ingredient in fluorinated pesticides, fungicides, rodenticides, anesthetics, tranquilizers, fluorinated pharmaceuticals, and a number of industrial and domestic products. Fluorinated dental gels, rinses, and toothpaste. Fluoride is so much a part of a multi-billion-dollar industrial and pharmaceutical income that any withdrawal of support from pro-fluoridation, I butchered that, is financially impossible, legally unthinkable, and potentially devastating for their career and reputation. Funded by U.S. industrialists in an attempt to encourage public acceptance of fluoride, Edward Bernays, known as the father of PR, the original spin doctor, began a campaign of deception to persuade public opinion. Bernays explained you can get practically any idea accepted if doctors are in favor. The public is willing to accept it because a doctor is an authority to most people, regardless of how much he knows or doesn't know. Doctors who endorsed fluoridation didn't know what research discrediting fluoride safety was either suppressed or not conducted in the first place. Fluoride became equated with scientific progress, and since it was introduced to the public as a health-enhancing substance added to the environment for the children's sake, those opposing fluoride were dismissed as cranks, quacks, and lunatics. Fluoride became impervious to criticism because of relentless PR, offensive, but also because of its overall toxicity. Unlike chemicals that have a signature effect, fluoride, a systemic poison, produces a range of health problems, so its effects are more difficult to diagnose. Recently declassified U.S. military documents, such as the Manhattan Project, shows how fluoride is the key chemical in atomic bomb production, and millions of tonnes were needed for the manufacture of bomb-grade uranium and plutonium. Fluoride poisoning, not radiation poisoning, emerged as the leading chemical health hazard for both workers and nearby communities. A-bomb scientists were ordered to provide evidence useful for defense and litigation, so they began secretly testing fluoride on unsuspecting hospital patients and indigent, mentally retarded children. The August 1948 Journal of the American Dental Association shows that evidence of adverse effects from fluoride was censored by the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission for reasons of national security, end quotes. The only report released stated that fluoride was safe for humans in small doses. During the Cold War, Dr. Harold C. Hodge, who had been the toxicologist for the U.S. Army Manhattan Project, was the leading scientific promoter of water fluoridation. While Dr. Hodge was reassuring Congress of the safety of water fluoridation, he was covertly conducting one of the nation's first public water fluoridation experiments in Newburgh, New York, secretly studying biological samples from Newburgh citizens at his U.S. laboratory at the University of Rochester. Since there are no legal constraints against the suppression of scientific data, the only published conclusion resulting from these experiments was that fluoride was safe in low doses. A profoundly helpful verdict for the U.S. military, who feared lawsuits for fluoride injury from workers in nuclear power plants and munitions factories. Fluoride pollution was one of the biggest legal worries facing key U.S. industrial sectors during the Cold War. A secret group of corporate attorneys known as the Fluorine Lawyers Committee, whose members included U.S. Steel, Alcoa, Kaiser Aluminum, and Reynolds Metals, commissioned research at the Kettering Laboratory. I wanted to say laboratory. At the University of Cincinnati to provide ammunition for those corporations who were fighting a wave of citizen claims for fluoride injury. The Fluorine Lawyers Committee and their medical ambassadors were in personal and frequent contact with the senior officials of the Federal National Institute for Dental Research and have been implied in the burying of the 40-year-old Kettering study, which showed that fluoride poisoned the lungs and lymph nodes in laboratory animals. Private interests sought to destroy careers and censor information by ensuring that scientific studies raising doubts about the safety of fluoride never got funded, and if they did, never got published. During the 1990s, research conducted by Harvard toxicologist Phyllis Mullix showed that fluoride in water may lead to lower IQs and produce symptoms in rats strongly resembling attention deficit and hyperactive disorder, ADHD. Can you fucking believe it? Just days before her research was accepted for publication, Mullinex was fired as the head of toxicology at the Forsyth Dental Center in Boston. Then her application for a grant to continue her fluoride and central nervous system research was turned down by the U.S. National Institute of Health when an NIH panel told her that fluoride does not have central nervous system effects. Despite growing evidence that it's harmful to public health, U.S. federal and state public health agencies and large dental and medical organizations such as the American Dental Association continue to promote fluoride. Water fluoridation continues despite the EPA's own scientists, whose union, Chapter 280 of the National Treasury Employees Union, has taken a strong stand against it. Dr. William Hearsey, Vice President of Chapter 280, stated that fluoride that is added to municipal water is a hazardous waste product for which there is substantial evidence of adverse health effects and, contrary to public perception, virtually no evidence of scientific benefits. Although fluoride is up to 50 times more toxic than sulfur dioxide, it is still not regulated as an air pollutant by the American Clean Air Act. Since thousands of tonnes of industrial fluoride waste is poured into drinking water supplies all over North America, supposedly to encourage gleaming smiles in our children, big industry in the U.S. has the benefit of emitting as much fluoride waste into the environment as they like, with absolutely no requirement to measure emissions and no way of being held accountable for poisoning people, animals, and vegetation. In August 2003, the EPA requested that the National Research Council, the research arm of the National Academy of Sciences, reevaluate water fluoride safety standards by reviewing recent scientific literature, because the last review in 1993 had major gaps in research. Neither the U.S. Food and Drug Administration nor the National Institute for Dental Research nor the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry has any proof on fluoride safety or effectiveness. The International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology has classified fluoride as an unapproved dental medicine, due to its high toxicity, and the U.S. National Cancer Institute Toxicological Program has found fluoride to be an equivocal carcinogen. Currently, the U.S. government is continuing to introduce further fluoridation schemes throughout the country, including the Water Act passed in November 2003, which has made it impossible for water companies to undergo civil or criminal hearings as a result of adding fluoride to public water supplies. Ain't it a bitch? In a society where products containing asbestos, lead, beryllium, and many other carcinogens have been recalled from the marketplace, it is surprising that fluoride is embraced so thoroughly and blindly. It seems absurd that we would consider paying the chemical industry to dispose of their toxic waste by adding it to our water supply. Hiding the hazards of fluoride pollution from the public is a capitalist-style con job of epic proportions that has occurred because a powerful lobby wishes to manipulate public opinion in order to protect its own financial interests. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. Our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested largely by a group of guys that we don't even know. And there's the end of that article. They get into like all the other countries that don't do fluoride, which if you live in America, just know we're getting fucked pretty hard. I have just I did have this other article about fluoride, but I don't think I'm gonna. I think that other article pretty much summed it up, so we're not gonna fuck with this one. Okay, now I would like to talk about aluminum in your deodorant. Now just know, like, I'm talking about these things because these are things that I've actually changed in my life. I quit aluminum in my deodorant, and then I quit deodorant. And I legit, now all I use is I get some 70% isopropylene alcohol, put like 6 drops of some essential oils in there, you know, and put it in a little squirt bottle, shake it up. I do like 3 squirts, and I mean, if I need more, I just squirt more on. And I don't use fluoride in my toothpaste. I mean, if you think about it, I've gone down the rabbit holes to where you can get microplastics in your teeth just from the little plastic bristles on the brush, and that you're supposed to use some other shit. And I'm like, damn, I'm just gonna brush my teeth with my fucking finger, might as well. And then, when you try to quit petroleum, you realize how much shit has petroleum in it. It's fucking insane. And then you got the parabens and oh my god. But here, 7 reasons why you should quit. Never use aluminum in your deodorant. They say, bad body odor? Don't choose between smelling good and your health. Ditch your aluminum deodorant and go for a safe, all-natural alternative that works. You'll start out learning about nutrition and how different foods affect you. Soon enough, you're exploring... Oh, they're talking about paleo, or going paleo? Paleo? I don't even know what that is. I guess I should look that up, but... They say maybe you've changed your shampoo, makeup, and toothpaste for more paleo-friendly options. What about your deodorant? It smells nice, but if you buy it from the store, it probably is causing a lot more problems than you know. You don't have to stop using it and stink things up. But it's time to ditch the aluminum deodorant for something better. Keep reading for 7 reasons why you should never use that stuff again. Aluminum compounds. First reason to stay away from aluminum deodorants, the aluminum itself. Aluminum compounds like aluminum chlorohydrate and aluminum zirconium, I'm not even going to try that, tetrachlorohydroxyl, are extremely common in conventional deodorants and antiperspirants. These compounds plug the sweat ducts and stop or seriously limit the release of sweat. Unfortunately, aluminum can be absorbed deep into your skin with serious consequences. One of the biggest dangers, aluminum can interfere with the function of estrogen receptors. This could explain why clinical studies found a disproportionately high incidence of breast cancer in the upper outer quadrant of the breast, the part closest to the underarm. Strong evidence for a connection between a diagnosis and a locally applied aluminum deodorant. Many aluminum-containing deodorants are labeled as antiperspirants or antiperspirant deodorants, but there are no hard guidelines, so the deodorant you buy could contain aluminum even if it isn't marketed as an antiperspirant. And that's fucked up. That's why, I guess you really gotta read them fucking labels. Number 2 is parabens, which have been used since the 1920s, are an artificial preservative designed to prevent bacteria growth. Companies use them to increase the shelf lives of thousands of different cosmetic and body care products, everything ranging from shampoos and moisturizers to sunscreens and even your deodorant. All of these repeated daily exposures really add up. Parabens have been linked to annoyances like skin irritation and allergic reactions. to much more serious issues like hormone function disruption. Just like aluminum, parabens are estrogenic. Mimicking the estrogen hormone throws the system out of whack. Crazy how all this stuff that is for women fucks up women. While the FDA limits the parabens allowed in foods and drinks, it does not regulate them in cosmetics or body care products. Would you look at that? Of course they fucking don't. On deodorant labels, look out for methyl, ethyl, propyl, benzyl, and butyl. Those are dead giveaways for parabens. Number 3 is propylene glycol. Propylene glycol is used to soften deodorants and make them easier to apply to the skin. This ingredient, which is petroleum-based, can be extremely dangerous, especially when it's combined with other chemical additives. Propylene glycol can cause skin irritations ranging from mild redness to full-on allergic reactions. Even extremely small concentrations, 2% or less, can irritate sensitive skin. Some companies make their deodorants with as much as 50% propylene glycol. Oh my god, that's what I was using. What the fuck? It's even worse in larger quantities. Numerous studies linked propylene glycol to damage of the heart, liver, and central nervous system. Even many, quote, natural deodorant alternatives use propylene glycol, so check your labels closely. Number 4 is triclosan. You know that many deodorants available at the store contain a pesticide? It's true. In 1969, that's how triclosan was first registered with the EPA. So what in the world is a pesticide doing in our deodorants? Companies mostly use triclosan to kill bacteria and extend shelf lives of their products. Not surprisingly, this creates a range of potential health issues. Human studies have linked triclosan exposure to a compromised immune system. A 2010 study found that triclosan lowered antibody levels and increased the incidence of allergies and hay fever. There are also more serious issues to think about, like the endocrine system. Studies found that even exposure to very low amounts of triclosan disrupted the thyroid hormone-associated gene expression. Like, are you fucking kidding me? This is insane. Number 5, artificial coloring. It's in fucking everything. Conventional deodorants also use artificial colors and bleaches in their manufacturing process. A big part of the trouble is just not knowing exactly what you're getting. There are tons of additives to choose from, some much worse than others, and the ingredients listed tend to be vague. Some artificial colors are even made from coal tar, which raises serious concerns about allergic skin reactions and even possibly carcinogenic effects. On deodorant labels, and I'd like to say every fucking label, look out for FD&C colors. These synthetic colors have been approved by the FDA for food, drugs, and cosmetics. But that's in no way a guarantee they're safe in your deodorant. They're not safe in any of that shit. Number 6, yellow sweat stains. Wonder how some people can keep white colors in good condition for years while yours end up gross? If you're tired of the yellow sweat stains and throwing money away on dress shirts and workout clothes, it's time to change your deodorant. I used to think I just sweat a lot, and that was why my white shirts ended up stained. But it wasn't until I changed my deodorant when I discovered the truth. The aluminum in your deodorant or antiperspirant is the one to blame. Why? When you sweat, you perspirate chemically Your perspiration chemically reacts with the aluminum deodorant. You end up with nasty yellow stains, even on clothes that are still pretty new. Number 7. You're supposed to sweat. Many deodorant companies use aluminum in their products for a simple reason. It works. It doesn't work in terms of your health, but the aluminum does block your sweat glands from releasing too much sweat. Here's the issue with that. Sweating is a completely natural process, one that our bodies use to regulate our temperature and even excrete toxins. Products that contain aluminum clog your pores and impair this completely natural process. Better path to use deodorants without aluminum. These allow you to sweat like you're supposed to, but cover up any bad odors in the process. And then this is where they're going to get into pushing their products. And they say even, some natural deodorants still have bad shit, and that's why I just said fuck it. And I went to seen something on the old TikTok that said this guy just used isopropylene alcohol and that was it. And then I just researched it and found, I'll be damned. I guess I'll try it. And honestly, it was probably one of the best things that I ever did. I mean, it would be nice to be able to, make my own shampoo and laundry soap. There is people that do, and it probably isn't that hard. I just one thing at a time. But with that, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I hope everyone had a wonderful Halloween. I mean, I wasn't planning on doing an episode tonight, but I needed something to do. And I got shit to talk about. I just rather talk about it. But I hope you enjoyed the episode. And if you did, please go and leave a comment, leave a 5-star rating. It helps out a lot, helps with the algorithm. Again, check out our affiliates and use the promo code Georgie350 for some dope-ass clothes. Don't forget, for $5 a month, you can go to patreon.com/onceupon785 and you can watch the video before anyone else and get a bunch of other badass shit. And would like to start releasing some just Patreon exclusive only episodes. If you would like to come on the show, you can email me at onceupon785@proton.me. And as always, I'm your host, Georgie350. Happy Halloween. And let's hit him with the outro. Bitch.
Yeah. Middle of the map, can't swear I'm at. You can say I'm whack, it's just not a fact. Can't tell if I'm awake or I'm in a dream. I just know I'm geeked on amphetamines. Never was a habit, now I gotta have it. Never was a fiend, now I am an addict. Or was a habit, now I gotta have it. Never was a fiend,